Good morning, everyone. My name is Isaac Newton Francis. I'm a forensic examiner in FDA Labs. And today's session, we're going to talk about multimedia image forensics. Uh, so, last session, I have talked about the basics of multimedia image forensics. That is part one. You can just check it out on our YouTube page. And this is a part two session, and we'll enter the session today. So let's just go through a glance of what we saw in our last session. I'm. It's advisable to see the last session to know about the basics of multimedia image forensics in depth. And last session, what we saw, these are the topics what we saw in the last session. What is multimedia forensics? The basics of image forensics and the devices that we use in for digital evidence and the what are the image forgeries plus the basics of image editing methods. All these methods we saw in the last part. If you watch the last content, it is advisable to see the last content to check out this the upcoming sessions. So let's go on to the next part. Yeah, is my screen visible to everyone? Okay, so let's start the topic. Uh, as I told you, the last session, what topics we saw in the last session, and let's just go through the basics of before going into the topics. I'll just give you a short introduction of what is digital forensics and the history of digital forensics. As we know, digital forensics it involves three methods. We know that it involves preserving, identification, and extracting, and the last procedure is reporting the computer evidence in court. So it involves a forensic expert with the best tools and the best methods to solve the forensic cases. And this is just a short topic about the history of digital forensics. You can just go through it. What is the history of digital forensics and the main importance of digital forensics. The goals of digital forensics. So we read that digital forensics was the earliest concept of digital forensics. It emerged in the 1970s by the US Federal Rules of Evidence that started in handling the admissibility of digital evidences. So after that in 1992, the term digital forensic appeared in academics, and then the scientific working group on digital evidence called the SWGDE. They published a book called Best Practices for Computer Forensics in 2002, and uh, forensic examiner by the name of Simpson Garfinkel, he highlighted the challenges in digital forensics. So you can read that after that the evolution of digital forensics, how digital forensics evolved in the upcoming years, how advanced tools and methods were practiced in the in the coming years and the continuous years. So digital forensics plays a major role in our part. So let's not go too deep into this topic because our main topic is multimedia forensics, image forensics here today. I just give this present this slide to know just the basic contents of digital forensics and the evolution of digital forensics. Today our topic will be multimedia image forensics. Uh, so we know that multimedia image forensics is a main important plays main important role in digital forensics apart from digital forensics. And what contents we saw in our last session, you can just analyze it. What contents we saw, I will explain deeply about it. And today, in today's session, we are talking about the image forgery. I mean, the image manipulation techniques, more advanced techniques, and how to counter forensics these techniques. Uh, I'll just give you a small subtopic. I mean, example of in mainstream cinemas of like how multimedia forensics plays a uh, important role. If you just see this slide, we can see I've given us example of these shows called CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, Blade Runner movie, RSA Roma 3, and CSI New York. You might know about these, I mean, TV shows, series about digital forensics. For those who are interested in exploring this particular topic, these shows it captures the more forensic subdomain of these particular shows. And if you check it out, it'll be more you can just have an understanding of how forensic is showed in the mainstream cinemas. And particularly CSI Crime Scene Investigation, this show will just if you see some seasons about it, you can just check it out. Some like multimedia forensic related contents will be there. I mean, just a small example. And also this is a scene from CSI show. We can see that one of the forensic examiner, he examines in a uh, I mean in a software about picture of an image. I'm sorry, he analyzes an image particularly in that scene. And if you see it properly, like what type of analysis he does is just a short thing. So this actually this show showcases a real life forensic investigation that is brought into digital forensics domain. So if you see that picture, like we can he just analyzes a part of the picture about what he identifies and the image and a particular I mean the authentic image what he analyzes. And so these types of fantasy series what we see, they give a good knowledge of what is how digital forensics is portrayed in cinemas and in mainstream movies. And yes, so I told you that fantasy and fiction. Yeah. So fantasy and fiction. How does fantasy and fiction evolve in multimedia forensics? So, for example, I showed you this particular image from the show from CSI. So this shows about the fantasy topic. That means fantasy is not real because some of the elements in is like it is impossible in real life. It is like where, for example, where animation related concepts like where animals can talk, wear clothes or act like humans. At times, the content itself, the fantasy content itself lacks logic. While in fiction, these particular concepts in fiction, they happen in reality. Like, for example, animals behave in ordinary and more realistic ways, and people, they act in like what they do in real life is the reality. So it resembles the real world, and it involves actual people. Actual people, the actual location, the places, or what is happening. That is called the reality. So I just wanted you to explain like what is the difference between fantasy and fiction. That is, fantasy is we cannot introduce something new, the information in that particular content, while we, what is the solution is that we can only enhance that content, and we can only extract something which is already present in that content. That is what fantasy role plays in this domain. But in fiction, in reality, so it is like these particular concepts that happens in reality, and it can be we can introduce new information in in fiction, because that is like what is happening, what is the true facts, and what are the scenarios that happens in the real world. So why I introduced this concept is because we differentiate the contents in, this is how we differentiate the contents in multimedia forensics. Like, what is fantasy, fantasy types of data that we collect, and what is the fiction type of data that we collect. And yes, so our main topic here is today's image forensics. So last session I already explained about the image forensics contents, and the image, particularly the image forgery techniques and the manipulation method. This is another small definition of what is a forgery, and how the manipulation methods is used in our multimedia domain, multimedia forensics domain. So I needed to know that for what basically what is forgery, or also called as manipulation. How does it work in forensics? I mean in image, in a picture. How does a forgery takes place in an image, in our multimedia concept? So forgery, we read that forgery is a subjective word. So an image can be considered a forgery depending on the context in which it is used. And an image modified for fun or to enhance a poor quality isn't considered a forgery, even though it has been altered from its original form. So in today's generation, advancements in graphics have led to the development of various photo editing software like Photoshop, Lightroom. These can change the contents of the image without leaving any signs of tampering, editing, or manipulation. So these particular software which are available online are easy approachable, and to common people to to edit a photo, to manipulate a photo, to tamper a photo, to tamper an image. Today, these powerful tools allows people to easily quickly edit photos. It makes it very hard to detect any changes in an image. So the truth and the authenticity of the digital images are often uh, often exposed in today's softwares that we use. And also, on the other side of forgery, are those who commit it for personal gain and recognition. So what is the purpose of doing this forgery is, the person who does it, who commits it, it's for their personal gain and for a popular recognition too. Because digital images are used in every field, including in media, in electronic sector, in finance sector, in government sector, military, what we can say, law, industry, in forensic sector, in science and technology, particularly in social media. A lot of sectors are there, healthcare, and what you can say in fashion. So and basically in all over the internet. So digital images are used in every field. So it is very important. So it is also crucial to develop something to verify the I mean the original, or also called as authenticity, and the legit image of if it is faked, if it is the original image, those types of concepts. So especially since they are often used in as a evidence in crimes, I mean in court, uh, in recovery, or in documents, particularly in financial types of forgeries. So digital image forensics mainly plays a key role in a domain, in a part. So this is the key. This is the main area of focus here. Digital multimedia image forensics. And we also read that they fabricate an image to deceive. I mean the suspect to tamper the image. They fabricate an image to deceive the recipient into believing it's authentic, allowing them to secure payment and for personal benefit. So what is the purpose of them to deceive the victim into believing what type of tampering they're doing, and what is the purpose of doing it? So that is that. And next is they produce an image intended to trick the recipient into believing it's genuine, enabling them to gain payment and fame. So this is the purpose of what how the suspect is tampering the image, I mean the data, and what purpose he gains from that. So these are the three types of forgeries that we can read. One is an image created using graphical design software, and an image where the context is also all has been altered. So these are the to tourists were killed in a terrorist attack in the temple of Hatshepsut in Luxor, Egypt. The Swiss tabloid Blick digitally altered a puddle of water to appear as blood flowing from the temple. We can see that the blood is being manipulated, edited, or tampered into a puddle of water, a flow of water from the temple. So this is a classic example of how forgery takes place in an image. This is like a basic example of how forgery, I mean how manipulation takes place in a particular image data, and what types of tamperings can happen in for what purpose, and what are the methods of tampering that takes place. And this is also another example of how the content of the data, I mean the context of the data is modified. This is another example. In this particular picture we can see this is a newspaper clipping. So we can read that objects may be removed or added. For instance, a person can be inserted or erased. The simplest method is to cut an object from one image and insert it into another image editing software. Makes this task easy. So this is a to talk more about this is a basic example of copy move manipulation. This is a method called copy move manipulation. Copy move manipulation I explained in my last session too. of how copy move manipulation takes place. We will discuss it more further in this session too, a more advanced topics of how copy move manipulation takes place. And this is a basic example of how this copy move, this region duplication takes place. And also, for instance, this altered image could be used to sway events in foreign countries unaware of the manipulation. So this is an picture of how copy move method is taking place. How I'll give you an explanation of what is copy move method. We can read the second point, that is the simplest method to cut an object from one image and insert into another image editing software. So this particular thing is called copy move manipulation. So these are just the basic examples of what is how forgery takes place in an image, and how it reflects on the evidence of how we are dealing with it, and the visual inspection of it, the how the next step of analysis is being done, and what purposes of these forgeries are taking place. This is another interesting example. Another manipulation take picture, tampered picture. So this is this is an example of a football match. This picture is taken in screenshotted in a football match. That is in February 2012 between, you can just check the teams, Barcelona and Athletic Bilbao. So during this match, one of the pictures taken, this is called an uh, offside play method, and you can just check the original image and the the particular image of how it is tampered from. You can just check the contents of the, the particular single object, the person of an image, and how it has been altered in the second picture, and how the focused area has been altered into the tampered image. So this is a classic example of how tampering takes place. You can just see that the picture, uh, this particular area has been focused on, and how it has been altered in the tampered image, and here how the particular focused areas to being tampered in this image. So these are the classic examples of how a normal tampering takes place. So our main topics, what we are going to see is, like, what are the methods of these tamperings, and how do we mention these tamperings, what type of forgeries editing techniques are there, that basically in open source software can be, in an open source software can be used, or in a paid software, what types of basic editing techniques are there, and uh, how do we counter forensics? How do we give a solution to these editing techniques? How do we authenticate these images? How do we give an authentic basic authentication of the original image and the forged image? So, so we saw about the basic examples of the images of how tampering takes place and manipulation takes place, and I told you how image authentication process is done. How do we counter forensics, or how do we given differentiate? How would you differentiate from the forged image and the faked tampered image with the original image? So what process does a forensic expert do, and what methods does he use in this types of forgeries? So here we have the verification of image authenticity. That means the methods of image authentication. So what is image authentication? Image authentication involves maintaining the integrity of an image and verifying its original content. Yes, and it is commonly used to establish and confirm the copyright ownership of the image. So here, what is image? I mean, authentication is that authentication methods. It helps to uh, give the integrity of an image, and it is necessary to protect these images. It is necessary from protecting these images from manipulations. So the forensic examiner, what he does, it's important to develop solutions for the image authentication problems to maintain the integrity of the image. So with the rise in all the multimedia foreign applications and image authentication techniques have advanced, have become more increasingly important. So some of the techniques are given here. I mean, what are the image authenticated methods? These are the basic methods. There are a lot of methods too called watermarking, cryptography. All should have an idea about what is cryptography and image hashing. All these concepts are some of the basic examples of how image authentication process takes place. Uh, yeah, so we'll be talking about these two concepts of how image authentication process takes place. These two are classic methods used by in analysis of image authentication process. And I also told you like some of the particular step-by-step image authentication process are mentioned here. I've given you some of the main structure of how an image and authentication process takes place. We can read that the first step what we do is visually inspect the particular picture, the data, and the second step is file analysis. That is file checking the file format and the structures of the data, and next we see the metadata. I mean the EXIF metadata of the content. One of the another major method is called compression parameters, that is quantization table. These particular concepts we are not going deep into it now because we're just seeing the image editing techniques, types of image editing techniques. These particular concepts what we see in the slide, we'll be seeing this in our third part, that is more related to the forensic methods of an image integrity. So here is an classic a main example of how the methods of image authentications. You can see there are two methods here based. One is active and passive method. Uh, what we saw was active method is one is digital signature and watermarking, and in passive method we have two types of contents called forgery type dependent topic, and another one is forgery type independent methods. So these are the classification of how image authentication takes place, and how we are classifying these authentication process, and what type of forgeries takes place, and how do we deal with these methods, using these methods. And I just explained you the active and passive methods in the so here various methods are used to authenticate and protect these images and their information. So some of the examples of how image authentication methods they include VPNs. I told you firewalls, encryptions, cryptographic hash functions like digital signatures. These are like based on concept of cryptographic hash functions. uh, and some like method authentication codes, manipulation detection codes, and hashing. So some of the methods that are used to used to protect the image and used for the authentication of the image are some of these examples. And one of the main concept is authenticate an image is I everybody will having an idea of what is cryptography and the cryptographic methods, and everybody having an idea of what is image hashing to. So these methods we will be, I told you, we will be talking it more in our third session of this particular methods of the image forensics. This is just to explain of the classification of how image authentication is done. And here we see that there are two methods, active and passive. So what is active method, and what are the drawbacks of the active methods, and what is passive methods, and what are the forgeries taking place, and how does passive methods are used in image forensic contents. Also to note that I forgot to explain one concept called quantization table. Here, the third part of the final analysis. So quantization table, to give you an idea, it plays. It gives a major importance in JPEG compression, in image compression, by deciding how to differentiate from an image by bits to different parts of the image. So how quantization table works, it assigns more bits to the area of the image that we are more likely to notice through our eyes, and it also helps to maintain the image quality of the data, even when the when the file size is even when the file size content is reduced. So quantization table, this part plays a major role in image compression and the uh, the analysis of the content. Uh, the final stages of authentication method will be pixel and compressed data statistics, and the last final part will be local analysis, that is finding inconsistencies of pixel statistics across the image. So if I told you that we will be seeing more, I will give an explanation in our next upcoming sessions. The next third part of this. Uh, we don't want to give some time, waste time on these topics. Okay. So this is another example of how does an image, how forensic method is used in a particular image data. Uh, how does the evidence come, image evidence comes, and how what type of methods we are going to use in this particular image. So we know that this is a blurred image, and what type of contents, what type of methods we can use for this type of particular data. So this is a basic guideline of visually inspecting when we see a particular image. In forensic methods, when we see a particular image, how do we visually inspect that can be, if that particular data can be analyzed or recognized too. So we can read that there is no such thing as minimum quality for video. uh, the effectiveness of enhancement relies on multiple factors. Like, one of the factors is that the video was recorded with an HD camera, but the license plate here, the license plate we need to extract is too distant. So also the enhancement topic I have already spoken in our last session about the enhancement topic. You can check it out of what is enhancement, and a lot of image topics, editing topics are talking about to get an idea of what is enhancement, and some technical, we can read that the technical related details such as the resolution of the area of interest. Coming to the subject, resolution of the area of interest, degree of compression, presence or of blur or focus, number of available frames, and the level of noise, brightness, contrast. So these are the technical concept of enhancement. What we do during the enhancement procedure, and also understanding the existing defects is crucial for selecting the appropriate tools. So uh, sorry for the pause. We'll continue with the topic. So we spoke that how forensic methods are used to analyze in a particular image data, and what is the basic step that we do during the analysis procedures, and what are the guidelines and the strict procedures that we do during the inspection and the analysis of the particular data. So the enhancement here, it talks about the enhancement procedures. Enhancement in, yeah, we should not dwell too much in this topic. This is just the basics of what how a forensic procedure takes place, and how the guidelines for it. So we what we read here was that the effectiveness of the enhancement procedures, how it is done, the visual inspection of how it is done. So I'm going to combine this example, another example of how this particular visual inspection takes place in a data. So in this data, we can see that the original picture where the particular picture from a CCTV footage is screenshotted, and here we can see the the analysis method that is used to give a correction of the image. So here the particular purpose of the image is to find the the data, the particular region data of this image, and how the using these enhancement procedures and using the appropriate tools, how the how the method is being used in the particular data, and how what is the result of that particular image we get, and result of how it is done. So this is also another method called geometrical transformation. This is a filter in forensic method in a particular tool. So this is a just I'm giving a classic example of how visual inspection is done, and how enhancement is done in the data that we get, in the particular picture that we get, and how what are the types of methods, uh, other methods that can be used to give an authenticity of the image, and to give a proper correction of the image. So yeah, let's go to this topic again, because we're going to I'm going to deeply explain about the image authentication process here. Yes. So we see that there are two types of methods called active and passive. Um, uh, to give an to give an definition of what are active and passive is that uh, Mm, there are active and passive authentication. It to give you a small example, that active image, it this method, actually this method, it involves embedding something, containing embedding an information or some data into an image, from the time of that particular, I mean, from the creation of the image, or from the date of the origin, and to later verify its authenticity. This active image authentication method is used. Next, we see that passive method image authentication. To tell you that this method, it examines the image itself, the original image itself, for any signs of tampering or any signs of manipulations, without relying on something, pre-existing data or any pre-existing information in that particular image. So why these particular methods are used in this image authentication process is that active and passive method, these methods helps to give the digital evidence what we are analyzing. It gives an accurate and trustworthy data, trustworthy integrity of that data. That is why these approaches, these methods are basically used for image authentication process. So when we are going into active method, uh, we see that there are two types of techniques used in active methods. One is watermarking and one is digital signature. These use two types of active image authentication topics are there. So the first classic thing is watermarking, digital watermarking. I told you that it is this is the subcategory of these are types of image active image authentication method. I already explained that active image authentication means any information or any data that is embedded in into an image when it is created from the date of origin, or sent into a date of origin of that particular image. So this method is used. This active authentication method is used, and that it is subclassified into two types: digital watermarking and digital signature. We know that digital watermarking, image watermarking, is a process of embedding information such as text or patterns within the image, and it is often used to determine and verify the copyright ownership of the image. It is also employed to safeguard digital content against unauthorized access alteration used and detection. So to tell you that digital watermarking is nothing but embedding. I mean, applying some information or hiding some information into the image. It may be a text, it may be a pattern, uh, it may be a content, but this information must be added at the time of recording itself. I mean, at the time of creation of that data, or immediately after the recording of that data. So this is another example of how watermarking is done in active image in authentication procedure. In this is a particular image data, and this information, how this information is typically used to identify the ownership. I mean, the ownership of the copyright of the image. You can see that what used in an image after in the in the B part, the second picture. Uh, yeah. So this watermarking particularly, it is also employed to safeguard the digital contents against unauthorized access. Next thing, the use and distribution. So it is very useful, but it has its disadvantages too. That some, like extra process need to be done on the original image, and it is also possible to do with the camera itself, the original camera that we take from where we take the image, and it also provides. It is also possible to do with the original camera, but all the cameras are not like equipped with this facility, the to give the watermarking process. So the cameras are the images which are available in our market. They are not they don't come with the watermarking filter. And this is the two types of watermarking. One is invisible watermarking and another one is visible watermarking. The second subcategory of active image authentication method is a digital signature. To give you a definition of what is digital signature and how does it involve in a particular image. Digital signature is an authentication method that allows the creator of the information to attach a code that serves a unique signature. Uh, that is like to digitally sign a message, the sender first creates a hash of the message, and what is that hash? Is that hashing involves converting data of any size to a fixed size output using specialized algorithm called hash functions. So next one is digital signature. Digital signature is an authentication mechanism that enables the owner of the information, the creator of the information, to attach a code uh, that will act as a signature. What are these codes? What are these codes that we are talking about? Some codes, like like hash codes. These hash codes usually will be generated from the image, from the data from the image itself, by using some hash functions or hashing techniques. And that hash code will be like encrypted by private key of the owner that does this encryption. So here is a basic example of digital signature, how that hash functions takes place in the original image and the modified image. We can find out that the tampering has been done from the original image and the tampering, what tampering has been done, and it gives its authenticity and it gives an integrity of the image. This is how digital signature procedure takes place, and this approach is um, this approach, it happens in the active image authentication method. uh, so this particular thing, these signatures also like helps us to detect the forgery, because when a single pixel of an image gets changed, even a particular single content of an image gets changed. Here we can see that the uh, region is being changed, the original image is being changed, and they modified how it is processed, and the whole hash code of will get changed. The data, the whole hash code of the image will get changed. So you can see the first digit 9 here, in this picture region, this particular region, we can see the first number 9 has been changed to 6 here, and all of the numbers have been the same. uh, so from the left image, it has been altered to the right image. It is modified. You can just visualize, you can just see the hash codes true that has been changed. The complete hash code has been changed. So even if you change a single pixel, it also changes the whole hash code. So like this we can authenticate those images. This also helps in identifying the forgeries also. The manipulation that has been taking place. This particular digital signature is also an important step in the analysis part. So like this we can authenticate these images. This also helps in identifying the forgeries, but the main thing is, what are the disadvantages of this process? What are the disadvantages in this method? So the disadvantages of these two techniques, I mean the watermarking technique and the digital signature technique, uh, it has to be embedded, or it has to be done at the same time of recording or immediately after the recording. And both are possible only if we need some extra, like a facility. It must be needed that that is a camera must be equipped with this facility. The particular camera that we are taking the picture, this camera should have the particular facility, the watermarking facility and the digital signature facility, even to analyze using these methods. So after the pre-analysis, I mean the post-analysis, during the analysis procedure, we should have in the pre-analysis we should have this particular facility in the camera itself, or using some software must be used. If not possible, we can use some software uh, for using this active image authentication methods. I mean the watermarking methods and the digital signature methods. Yes. So next we are going into passive. Before that, we'll just go into a small detail about image manipulation. So understanding image forgery in the absence of a watermark or these digital signatures that we saw is very important now. Uh, Let us to try to explore some image-based contents to assess its authentication process and its integrity process in the upcoming slides. So this technique, what we are going to see in the upcoming slides, is called passive techniques, passive image authentication techniques. So in this passive digital forensics, digital forgeries may leave the manipulation leaves no any visible clues or any hints of how it is tampered. That indicates that a particular forgery has taken place. But they, if there is no any clue, but there are some shadow print of that image. Definitely we can see that there is any definitely when a manipulation is done, definitely when a manipulation is done, it leaves some clue. It may not be visible or visually, it may not be like able to identify it, but definitely it alters the natural content of the characteristics of the image. So on that assumption, these passive techniques are, it is analyzed, and it is mainly this passive technique is used in the authentication process. So there are two techniques here. One is pixel based forgery, camera based, physical based, and format based. Uh, I'll explain a short content about these types of passive techniques. The first one is pixel based method. So mm, yeah, these methods for extracting image features can be divided into four categories. I told you: the pixel based, camera based, and the physical based, and the format based. Uh, so first one is pixel based method. So what is pixel based method? It usually detects the content of the pixel level correlation. It's also called as pixel level correlation. And camera based methods, it camera based methods tries to extract, it tries to extract the features of the camera which will be introduced by the camera of the image. And the third step is the physical based method. Physical based is more like or something like the interaction between the camera and the light of the photo. I mean the lighting conditions of the photo and the object in that particular photo. So the content introduced between these three objects. I told you that the one is the camera and the light and the object. These three objects will be studied under the physical based techniques. And finally is the format based techniques. How format based techniques takes place. And here we can see the sub categories of format based techniques. One is JPEG quantization, double JPEG and JPEG blocking. And format based techniques, it exploits the pixel level correlations introduced by the specific recompression techniques. So this particular topic will be more a little bit in depth. Some of the definitions may be in depth. Pixel based methods. First thing is in passive techniques, we are going to see the first step is called pixel based methods. What is pixel based methods? So these pixel based features are used to analyze the, I told you one concept is called the pixel level correlation that results from a particular type of tampering. So what type of tampering? Tamperings like such tamperings like duplicate region tampering and resampling detections. Correlation of that particular image. So here we can see the how pixel-based method is used. This is one of the example of how duplicated region is taking place, and it is also called as copy move method. Duplicated regions. We can use this one example of duplicated region forgery. We can see region duplication is like a simple where a continuous portion of a pixel in an image after possible geometrical and illumination adjustments are copied and pasted to different locations like this. You can see that. Most region duplication detection methods are based on directly matching the blocks. So this is the that particular duplicated region, and how does the detection of the particular duplicated region is taking place using a analysis method. We don't want to go deep into this because it's a very big topic actually. So I'll just give you a small example. I mean, a small definitions of these methods. Next is cloning. So cloning. I assume that all will know the word cloning or cloning. Cloning is one such operation where the portions are copied and posted over the same image. So if it is done carefully, it is very difficult, such as cloning operations visually. So hence, any copy move forgery method introduces relation between the original image segment and the pasted one. That means we can understand that if we look at this example, duplicated region, we can find out the features which are pasted over the other portion. Definitely, those two portions will exhibit the same properties. And any copy move forgery creates a correlation between the original image segment and the duplicate segment. When done carefully, cloning can be challenging to detect with the naked eye. So we use the detection technique for duplicated region. How cloning is taken place is in a particular image. And next is copy move manipulation. So that same idea of that cloning and the duplicate region, that idea is used to detect here. I mean that is used here to detect the forgery first. We will divide the whole image into fixed size smaller blocks, and each blocks will be used to extract the particular content, and it will be used to represent a small number of uh, coefficient, and such coefficient will be sorted in the identical blocks. You can see, read the third point here. Lexicographically sorting all image blocks causes identical blocks to appear as adjacent pairs in the sorted list. The segments may not match perfectly, but only approximately. So, if you see here a small example of how copy manipulation takes place. So, in this, the sorted list, definitely the match blocks will be placed in the adjacent portions. So yes, the segments may not match the same, even though they are the same portions exist. I mean here, they may not match the same image twice or thrice, but they may not. What exhibits the same exact values or coefficients, because the uh, editing operation that has been, the retouching operations, or some transformation will be done on those, or any recompression is also possible in this particular data to be done. By resaving that, your such values may not match exactly, but approximately it will match. Like for example, we see that here a picture of how copy manipulation is taking place from the original data of how the particular region is cut out and copied, and how it transforms into the second altered image. Anyway, this technique has been done by using two concepts called DCT and PCA, that we'll be seeing in this upcoming slides. What is DCT and what is PCA and what is SIFT uh, transformations. So these are the algorithms that have been created to identify the copy move manipulation, the cloned particular duplicated region of that area, and the cloned region of that area. So another first thing we are going to see about is DCT, that is detection using DCT method, discrete cosine transformation. So DCT is none other than, DCT is like it is used in the manipulation technique. So you can use that example. For example, the rabbit here, the rabbit has been copied and moved to the second pic. You can see that. And also we can see that in our previous picture here, the in the original image and the altered image, the particular region, that is an insect, has been copied and moved into the altered image, and the particular blocks is not exactly the same length of the original image. And here we can see that this is the same content, but we are using a technique called DCT. Here we can see that the rabbit has been copied and it is moved. Sorry, uh, the rabbit has been copied and it has been moved to the altered image, the second pic. So when we apply this DCT technique, this discrete cosine transformation, we exhibit the same features, the so that it can be identified using this method. So this is the discrete transformation method. And in the second picture, we can also see a cloning method, a cloning technique has been used from the original image. It is edited and it is moved on to the second picture, and we can sort out these types of forgeries using this DCT method. This is the DCT method using a tool, and we can sort out how that cloning is happened and how the altered image is apart differentiated from the original image in these types of cloning process. The second process is PCA, that is principal component analysis. This is another process used in the analysis part for detecting the cloning area. So here, PCA means principal component analysis. It can be used to detect this particular manipulation has taken place, and we can see an example of how PCA process is taking place and how mm, we can detect the cloning process. So this is only used for the analysis of common factors in different fields. For example, principal component analysis is a procedure that uses on the uh, orthogonal transformation to convert a set of observations in a more corrected variable in a set of values, or in a, in a more principal component values. In fact, PCA provides a different view. Different view of the data that we get, and it has been what we do the analysis procedure with it. So this allows an examiner. This allows the forensic examiner to find the mismatches in the original image and in different parts in one image easily. For example, uh, if we see this picture, we can see how the principal component analysis is done. So if you look at this first picture, the principal component almost in the same, sorry, in the same picture, but when we use the PCA method, the second principal component shows the recognizable, the uh, differences between the parts of the image. It's clear that uh, the puddles on the floor and the water on the floor and the walls. You can see that in the walls have more details, and that the in the left wall we can see that, and in the ceiling we can see that how PCA is been method is being used, and how it differentiates the original image and the uh, image that we analyze. We can see how compression takes place in the in the left parts of the image and the upper parts of the image. So for the manipulation in this image can be detected using another process called ELA, error level analysis too. And there are a lot of other images where error level analysis won't work. So instead of the error level analysis, principal component analysis (PCA) is used for the pixel reduction, the dimensionality reduction process. So this also explains a very good property to express in a small number of pixels in each blocks, and PCA also gives a very good result of the analysis part, in particularly in analysis part. When we compare with the DCT method or the SI shift method. So here is another analysis method called analysis at different compression levels. Even when the compression levels are increased, if we see an example of the original picture and how compression levels are automatically, is changed, enhanced more. Even when the compression levels are increased or decreased, it is also working at the condition of different compression levels. So this is a small example of how comparison levels are enhanced in a particular picture. And another example of how compression levels 2 works here. So in this example, we can see if this is our image which is saved at 50% quality or 60% quality, even at 100% quality of the image. This method, this compression level method, works efficiently, and it gives an accurate report of the image. it identifies the cloning operations, how cloning takes place, how that particular region is duplicated, and another one is called shift method. And this shift feature, which is usually this is used to describe the local region of the image. So it is represented as a key point. I mean, the lines you can see here, you can see the lines. Uh, that is drawn between those two key points. So this is also accurately it identifies a cloning operation. We can see the original image and we can see that the object is removed. And we using the shift method, we can see the how alteration cloning method is taking place, and the copy move manipulation is taking place. So that is, you can see the matching between the pasted portion and the copied portion. So here, this is how the cloning operation or the duplicate region takes place. Can be, I mean, can be identified. Next process is called image splicing. Next method is called image splicing. Uh, we will just get fast into the topics as we don't have time. So this is another form of manipulation. Tampering is one is called image splicing, and this is a common form of photograph manipulation. So here, two or more images are used in the previous forgery, and only a single image is used to create a forgery. Cloning operation is being used to create a forgery. I mean, a single image has been used in a copy move forgery, but image splicing difference is that splicing usually two or more images are being used to create a new image. So we saw that in cloning, only like uh, one singular particular, I'm sorry, one singular particular region of that area. I mean, a single image has been copied and moved, pasted and cloned in the altered image. But the difference in image splicing is that uh, two, here is an example that the picture A and in picture B, two images are used to altered and resulting in a manipulated image. You can see that. So this is called image splicing because it is merging. I mean, it is merging multiple images into one image, and it gives the resulted image. You can see the genuine images and the altered image. So this image splicing gives a new type of I mean, content, new image to that particular tampering that has been done. Here is also an all small example of how image splicing is being done. I told you that the two images has been merged into one image. Here's the two genuine images that has been spliced, and the result we get is a single image. This is how the process has been done, and how image splicing process takes place. Uh, yes, and the final part is resampling. So, uh, to create a composite is often necessary to resize, rotate, or stretch parts of an image. Resampling introduces distinct periodic correlations between neighboring pixels, and this specific type of correlation can be easily identified. Yes. So in this, this is another method to resampling. So in this case, it is also necessary to resize or rotate or structure portion of an image to match with the original image, with the host image. So the object size must be matched. I mean, when we create a new image, So in that case, it is always important to resize the portion of the image. I mean the copied portion of the image, and so resampling introduces a new operation called introduces a specific periodic correlations between the neighboring pixels and the specific form of correlations that can be easily determined by using this resampling. So this is also called as interpolation technique. Uh, so as we have seen the first graph here, uh, it gives the original pixel values. When we resize it, the original pixels will be elongated and the immediate will be identified by the interpolation method. So interpolation operations creates a pixel and some kind of pixel correlations too. Because this intermediate pixels will be generated by taking an average of the neighboring pixels. And here is a basic example of how resampling is being done. So this is a tampered image of often exhibits discrepancies in or second order differences along the horizontal direction. You can see the original image and the tampered image of how resampling is being done, and how the tampered image is detected using the analysis procedure and how it is proposed. So all these periodic correlations that we talk about, so it can be identified by finding the differences in horizontal directions. In second order differences will give this kind of result. Maybe if we find out horizontally or if we find out vertically in a particular image, so that it finds when we take the difference between the pixels of the alternative pixels or the consecutive pixels, it gives us a value after two or three times when we do this operation. So this exhibits this kind of detection, what type of manipulation takes place in the particular image. uh, yes, and the final stage of forensic method we use this wavelet decomposition. Another method, this is called that to detect the resampling process. This is another method that we use, that is called wavelet decomposition. And so this also indicates on the I mean the tampering is taking place, but there are some disadvantages to it and there are some drawbacks with it. So this may not work if the portion of the image, I mean here, is that has not been resized. So if the object size match exactly, then there is no need of resizing. So if we don't do that, this process, we the resampling operation, that we cannot detect such forgery by using this method. So we can see the classic example of a photo and how we detect resampling. This is an example of multi-level wavelet decomposition. Consists of the following. One is A is the single component specification, two-level component specification. C is the wavelet transformation, DWT, and D is the DWT two-level decomposition. You can see how we detect the resampling process using particular multi-level wavelet decompositions. So that's all for today's session, and Actually, what we saw is that the in the last session we saw about the image editing techniques, and in this session we saw about the analysis procedures used to detect these image editing process. And these are the actually these are some of the scientific methods to talk about the image, the analysis of the image editing process. And in next upcoming part we'll be seeing about the camera architecture, the some of the methods, more advanced forensic methods, analysis methods that are used, and their explanations, uh, and how to tackle these types of manipulation techniques and using these forensic methods. And what is the what is the future of multimedia forensics? How multimedia forensics shapes our day-to-day life, life, and the crimes, the forgeries taking place, and why should we really trust on a in an expert for these image forensic manipulation, image manipulation techniques. So we will see in the upcoming part three. All these contents we'll see in the upcoming part three too. I hope today's session we will end the session for today. So yes, if you want to check out more contents, forensic related concepts, you can check out a YouTube channel or social media page. If you want to give some feedback on how our training sessions and contents, you can give some of feedbacks in our support mail. So yes, that's all for today, and thank you.